tonight at the Slidebar with Kris Roe from the Ataris. Acoustic shows, what's behind that?
I write all my songs stripped down on an acoustic guitar. I feel like some of my favorite songwriters are narrative-driven, singer-songwriter, storyteller-type songwriters, and I feel that these songs really stand on their own, and some of them really shine even brighter in this kind of format. So I enjoy playing with, plugged into loud amplifiers too, but there's something that I think is great about, going out intimately, being able to talk about the songs and, kind of play whatever comes to mind. Because I record and write all the Atari songs myself, all the parts, and, when we play with a band, we kind of are limited to whatever the other songs that the other guys in the live lineup know.
I'm from Santa Barbara. I was raised in Santa Barbara. I used to go by Down on Haley a lot. I just was curious, what happened to Down on Haley?
And that closed in like 04.
I'm old.
I'm 35, so yeah, I mean, not older than me. Well, the reason we opened a record store back then is because we needed a rehearsal space, and the landlord said, we'll gladly let you rehearse here if you have a storefront, because I want to try and help this street become more of a high traffic walking street, which would never happen. Maybe now, finally, several years later, it would. But I mean, at that time, if there was a bad area in Santa Barbara, it was the only area in Santa Barbara that was like kind of the seedy area. There were transvestite prostitutes that hung out 3 doors down at the Latino dance club. So I mean, it was what it was. When I do something, I like to really control it and be hands-on with the idea and the vision and try to steer it. And unfortunately, with that, I wasn't able to, because I was always touring. And when it first started, it was something I really had as a labor of love, and went on tour, and it kind of became somebody else's thing. And after a while, we just decided, I moved back to the Midwest, and everybody else, Mike, our old bass player, lived in the studio for a while, but then it just, record stores. It's a dying thing, man. As much as I'd love to see a million independent record stores on every other corner, it just isn't happening.
I've read a lot of interviews with you where you talk about how people ask you a lot about how the music scene has changed, about record sales and how that's different from then to now. I was curious though, what do you think about like the punk rock scene as a whole, from like maybe like '98 to now? Like when you guys were playing with Lagwagon and Nerf Herder and all those bands, like what are maybe some positive changes, or just changes in general that you've seen from then to now?
Well, I really can't say too much positive, other than, I mean, I feel that the internet is a hindrance, and it's also something that helps. Too many bands today, I think that the band begins and ends at how good they promote on the internet. And the good thing about playing shows when we started is it was all word of mouth, and it was all like doing it kind of from the ground up, very grassroots, and that's kind of gone now. I mean, some bands still do that, but I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it's definitely a whole different thing that I don't understand, because the way of like going to Kinko's at 4 in the morning and making flyers, actual paper flyers, it's done, and it's made people lazier, but it's also given a lot of people an outlet to be able to promote their music. So there's pros and cons, no matter where you look at it. But don't listen to me. My opinion is one of many, and a very minuscule one. So I mean, I just write some songs. I don't want to pretend that my voice is anything more than what it is, and no one gives a fuck what I think when it comes to that. I appreciate you asking, but
I hope they do. If you could bring any entertainer back from the dead, off the top of your head, who would you grab and why?
Probably John Lennon, and I guess it's kind of an obvious answer, but because he was not only an amazing musician, but he was also a rebel, and somebody who really fought against the grain for what he believed in. And I think he could teach all this like wayward protest movements a thing or two. He could maybe bring some organization to some otherwise good idea and thought that is probably just a little bit disorganized, I suppose.
The only thing that matters is just following your heart, and eventually you'll finally get in love. Thank you very much.
Live music will always exist, even though records are kind of a thing of the past,